In October 2016, Meghan Markle ended her acting career, rewrote her Wikipedia page, posted a secret Halloween date with Harry, and just days later, the story broke worldwide. Was it love or a carefully planned strategy to control the royal narrative? We broke it all down during a recent live stream, and I've pulled out the key moments for you here. The video will begin right after the intro, so let's get into it. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. I have a lot to talk about today. As I was going through this article, I went down multiple rabbit holes, and really, I'm only going to talk about 40% of this article. There's a whole lot that happened that I didn't even broach the surface. This was one that was published just a couple days ago in the Daily Mail. It's titled Inside Meghan's Tendency to Control, According to a Royal Insider: How the Duchess Sought to Master Every Aspect of Her Life and even had a careful plan for how she would out her relationship with Harry. This is things that we've all heard about before, and this is one of the most fascinating things I feel about Meghan, because say what you say about her and her narcissism, she's strategic. She had a lot of this planned, and to follow through with years worth of plans. I mean, part of it is luck, but part of it is true strategy. And the flip side of this is that Meghan is also incredibly impulsive. So, how someone can be so impulsive and so strategic, it's always just such an interesting combination to me. The article begins and it says, by all accounts, Meghan's life story so far could be considered a modern day fairy tale. Meghan had a Cinderella-esque rise, growing up as a young girl in Los Angeles before she arrived at the palace and became the Duchess of Sussex. Okay, everyone, let's get into the wisecracks here, because there's a lot you can say here. Meghan had a modern day fairy tale. I don't know. I don't. Which character is she in this fairy tale? And Cinderella-esque rise? What? What character in Cinderella would she? Meghan doesn't plan; she schemes. That's very well said, Janet. Wyatt Holmes says Meghan is a narcissist. Control is her middle name. She's insecure. She's manipulative. It's a form of survival. Meghan is the evil stepsister. Yeah. A weakened stepmother. Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it. Or one of the jealous stepsisters. Yeah, Lisa, and that's what I mean. Like, she's so strategic with certain things, right? But then she has worms in her food, a messy home, a sloppy look. Sue. Oh my goodness. From the mice, which one I identify with, and I'm sure so many of us do, with Gus Gus. I'm like Gus Gus, trying to gather 5 pieces of cheese, put them under my chin and carry them, just because I only want to make one trip. I don't want to make 2 trips. I just want one trip. Yeah. Okay, the article continues and says Tom Bauer, writing in his bestseller Revenge, looks back on the early days of Harry and Meghan's romance, where he claims the former Suits actress meticulously planned how to out Prince Harry as her boyfriend. In Meghan Markle's life, little happened by chance. Beyond the empathetic smile was a woman who disrupted spontaneity and liked to control every aspect of her life. In late September 2016, nothing was more important to her than her relationship with Harry, Bauer said. And again, this is just another way of saying how she controls everything, how she really has a strategic mindset, because she knew what she wanted, she knew exactly how she had to get it, and she just set all the dominoes in motion. The article continues and says, according to the Royal Insider, it was around this time that Meghan decided that her career needed an adjustment. So in October 2016, her Wikipedia was purged of any reference to her work on Deal or No Deal and her time as a model. A section headed Humanitarian Work was inserted in its place, which referenced her speech at a United Nations women's event in New York, among other achievements. So you can see Meghan's the first strategy is polish up the image, because she's getting ready to step onto the world stage as Harry's significant other. And in Megan's mind, of course, she wants to rush it through to the end, but she might also be thinking, like, hey, even if I date him for a short while, that'll put me on the world stage. So she was setting herself up for that already. And actually, let's rewind even a little bit more than that. I believe that at least in 2014, late 2014, this plan had started. And I say late 2014 because that's when Megan did that USO trip where they traveled over Christmas to, I think, 5 different American bases in different countries. I haven't seen Megan show any interest in military at all since then. I mean, other than Invictus, but that's just a fashion show for her. And then there's the 2016 trip to Rwanda. Again, strategic. Megan herself has said, and right now I'm just remembering in the Oprah interview, that her and Harry's connection, one of the earliest connections was how they really wanted and were had a connection to Africa. So all of that is strategy too. So not only so she jazzed up her Wikipedia, but she had to do activities on the back end in order to be able to get her Wikipedia to look how she wants it to look. Okay, so what I wanted to say next is that this whole jazzing up the Wikipedia is something called image laundering. Image laundering is when someone deliberately reshapes our public image to appear more virtuous, successful, or likable than their real history or actions would naturally suggest. It's like cleaning up a reputation, removing parts of your past that don't fit the persona you want and replacing them with narratives that make you look morally elevated, relatable, or inspiring. And there are 4 ways that this image laundering can happen. The first is editing history. So that's removing or downplaying unflattering details. In the case of Megan, it's purging her Wikipedia of the deal or no deal information or her modeling information. The next is reframing achievements. So this would be highlighting humanitarian work or global impact projects to look philanthropic. The way we can say that this is a reframing of achievements is that once she got what she wanted, we haven't seen any actions to show she's continued or expressed interest in those same things. The third is strategic publicity. So, attending high profile events, leaking private photos, or staging moments to suggest a desired narrative. The strategic publicity that we see with Megan around this same time was her playing up that speech that she gave at the UN, which we find out later was actually not the main room that the event was being held, but in a side room. And then finally, there's this association laundering. So attaching yourself to respected people, causes, or institutions to boost credibility. So you can argue and say Megan was doing image laundering in order to get to Harry, but once she got to Harry, she used Harry again for more image laundering. And narcissists do these things for 3 different reasons. The first is they want to control the narrative. They want to dictate how others perceive them rather than leaving it up to reality or other people's natural accounts. The second is they want to attract high value relationships. Crafting a humanitarian global change maker image positions Megan as a desirable partner, friend, or ally. And finally, it's to build public social leverage. A polished, virtuous persona can make it harder for critics to call out inconsistencies because the brand looks untouchable. We know that Megan has done this because anytime someone criticizes Megan, we hear the Sussex squad. We hear people come out and say, but she did so much good work. And how could you say that when she's done so much work for X, Y, and Z? You can see this is the reason why she does it. So the article continues and says, and surprisingly, 2 weeks later, Megan emailed her agent, Gina Nelthorpe Count, to announce the end of her acting and commercial career. I realized it meant losing her as a friend as well as a client, Gina told Bauer. The relationship between Megan and Gina, I mean, there's so much to say about how Megan really didn't treat this woman well. I mean, if you want to know the dynamics of a narcissistic friendship, this is it. I was reviewing some of the things that Megan did towards Gina, and I think it's time for a video about that. But I do want to talk about one specific thing that Megan did to Gina, and that's going to be the next few things that we'll talk about. So the first thing I want to say is that there's this narrative supremacy over personal relationships, and that means that the narcissist will protect and control their personal image or public story, and that is valued more than maintaining real life connections with people. Megan cutting it off with Gina right after deciding to reposition herself shows that she's protecting her curated image, and that took priority over maintaining personal connections. This shows that Megan views relationships as transactional. People are valued only for how they support the desired narrative or personal brand. Once they're no longer useful, they're discarded. There's control over perception that's happening here too. Keeping relationships only with those who align ensure there's no internal conflict threatening the image being constructed. We'll get into this in just one second. That really one of the big things that Megan was doing here was trying to control how Harry perceived Megan. And there's a low tolerance for dissent. Anyone who questions, resists, or doesn't fit the new version of the story is quickly removed, even long term allies or friends. And this reminds me of a moment that is talked about in Tom Bower's Revenge, where when Megan first tells Gina that she's dating Harry, Gina, as a friend, tells her, be careful what you're doing. Try to warn her of the paparazzi and how she may not ever be able to act. And Megan snapped at her and said, save it, Gina. I don't want to hear it. So imagine being a friend to someone, trying to give them a little bit of insight into what they're going to. And there's such a low tolerance for it that Megan snaps at her. And eventually the relationship ends and she's discarded. So what I wanted to do was get into a specific incident that shows how nasty Megan really was to Gina. So this article was actually published just a couple of months ago and is titled How Megan Shunned a Former Friend and Business Partner Who Warned Her About Marrying into the Windsors, Royal Insider Book Claims. So again, this book that they're talking about here is Revenge by Tom Bower. And it begins, it says, it was February 2018 and Prince Harry and Meghan were on their first trip to Scotland together. So this is 3 months before the wedding. 3 months before the wedding. So Meghan needs to make sure that there's nothing that's a hindrance to that altar. The article continues and says, Bower wrote that Gina Nelthorpe Cowan, who was Meghan's former business advisor, was among the guests visiting a homeless shelter in the Scottish capital alongside the couple. Gina was reportedly told to stand with Meghan's group of associates, who she would mingle with once inside the building. But as the couple arrived at the center, Gina was ushered towards Harry's group after being told a mistake had been made. You know what? I don't like how this article is describing it, because I went back and I was reading it in Revenge, and I didn't want to read from Revenge word for word, but I think I have to because this article is sugarcoating what actually happened. Okay, so let's read what it says. The passage begins here. The highlight of Meghan's trip to Edinburgh was a visit to Social Bites, a center to help the homeless managed by Josh Littlejohn. By coincidence, Littlejohn was also a client of Gina Nelthorpe Cowan. At Littlejohn's suggestion, she was included in the 20 people awaiting Harry and Meghan in the center. Before they arrived, the 20 were divided into 2 groups, one to meet each of the couple. I used to work with Meghan, Gina told a palace official. I'd like to meet her. No problem, he replied, directing her to Meghan's group. Let's pause there. Okay, so Gina just happens to be in Scotland during this trip. This is 3 months before the wedding. All Meghan had done was just cut off their professional relationship, didn't really recognize that maybe their friendship was completely over too. There's a group of 20 people that are going to be split into 2. Gina didn't show up on her own accord. Mr. Littlejohn, Josh Littlejohn, was the one that suggested Gina come and maybe see Meghan. Gina approaches one of the palace officials and says, I used to work with Megan. I'd love to see Megan. So Gina is now put on the side that's going to meet Megan. The passage continues. 15 minutes later, as the crowd outside roared their welcome to the arriving couple, the palace official pulled Gina aside. Sorry, you're in the wrong group. We made a mistake. Please move to Harry's group. So they moved her. Someone let Megan know Gina's waiting for her, and Megan gave the command, move her to Harry's side. Can you imagine? Let's continue with the book passage. The couple entered and split up. I used to work with Megan, Nelthorpe Count told Harry directly. Did she make me go to your group? Harry didn't reply. Moments later, sorry, I lost my. Okay, here we go. Um, the couple entered and split up. I used to work with Megan, Nelthorpe Count told Harry directly. Did she make me go to your group? Harry didn't reply. Moments later, Megan looked away from Nelthorpe Count. In disbelief, she walked towards Megan. With obvious embarrassment, a palace official body blocked her. It's so shocking and nasty, and Harry knew. Harry ignored Gina's question. This is 3 months before the wedding. Such nasty, mean girl behavior. And this is why this example fits into what we were saying earlier about narrative supremacy over personal relationships. Because point one, it's a transactional relationship. Gina was only valued for how she could help Megan move forward. Number two, control over perception. There's stuff that Gina knows that Megan probably doesn't want Harry to find out about. And finally, low tolerance for dissent. I think Megan was already not happy with Gina over Gina giving her good advice of the reality of what this relationship would do to her life. Let's continue with the article. I'm going to skip all of this because I think reading from Tom Bauer's Revenge was just summarized. It's so much better. This article you can see is playing it down compared to what it says in Revenge. The original article continues and says, the timing of everything that month had been carefully planned, even down to the Halloween birthday party the couple attended in Toronto with Princess Eugenie and her boyfriend. Here's Megan being strategic again. It's wild to me. She planned all of this out. And if I can ask everyone, please also to hit that like button. We have 140 people here. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you so much. Okay, the article continues and says, here Megan shared a photo on Instagram of her secret Halloween date. Bauer said most at the party were in no doubt that Megan was outing Harry. So see, everyone around them knew this was Megan's plan. It doesn't say Harry knew that he was being outed, but people at the party knew what she was up to. The article continues and says, for her own good reasons, she wanted the relationship to be publicized. In media hype, some would call it the greatest story since the abdication. Yikes. So this is one of her tweets. This is October 31, 2016. One of her Instagram posts. If I'm not mistaken, the story of them dating broke on October 30th. So the day before this, but I'm going off of my memory on that. So here's Megan holding that pumpkin really weird. What a weird way to hold it up, right? Do you guys notice that too? Her hands? It doesn't seem that it's very supportive. Her caption says, Happy Halloween, friends. We see that both Jessica Mulroney and her makeup artist, Danielle Martin, commented on it. I did wonder, though, what they mean by Megan sharing a photo on Instagram of her secret Halloween date. The only thing I can think of is this picture, which is an absolutely terrifying picture. This picture scares me, but I don't know if this was ever posted on her Instagram. Usually when people are talking about the photo she shared about her secret Halloween date, they show this picture. So I don't know exactly which one it was, but my guess is that it's this one. The article continues and says the ploy worked. Meghan gained 100,000 new followers, and journalists received numerous tips about the clothes and accessories Meghan was wearing. Don't you wish Meghan, or don't you think that Meghan wishes right now that she could announce that she's dating a different prince so she could gain 100,000 new followers? Imagine the payoff worked. She was just Meghan Markle then, right, on Suits, not very well known, and she gained 100,000 subscribe or new followers overnight. And she started merching stuff even more. She got more visibility to merch. The next thing I want to do is talk about how this is what Megan did here is strategic narrative control and future positioning. The and I'm going off of that statement in the article that says the timing of everything that month had been carefully planned. Within weeks, Megan ended her acting career. She edited her Wikipedia to emphasize humanitarian work. She attended a carefully chosen Halloween party with Eugenie and posted a secret date pic, all signaling deliberate brand repositioning. The malignant narcissism angle here is that there's future faking. Megan is crafting a narrative in which she's already positioned as a royal level humanitarian before anything is official. There's grandiose self imaging. She's reshaping her personal history to fit the storyline she wants others to believe, and there's control through publicity. By outing the relationship herself, she forced Harry and the palace onto her timeline, creating perceived inevitability and reducing the risk of rejection. It's wild. It's wild. You can see so many narcissistic traits in just this one action of having the world find out who she was dating. Yeah. And I want to close this out with one of the other things I'm seeing here. The article mentions that there were matching bracelets that Harry and Meghan had, and that Harry's private Instagram followed Meghan. This leads into emotional manipulation, or it sounds to me like emotional manipulation and bonding acceleration. Subtle public signals like matching bracelets act as relationship cementing tools. They deepen perceived intimacy and signal exclusivity. This taps into love bombing optics, presenting the relationship as something unusually deep and fated, making Harry feel uniquely chosen. But it also weaponizes public perception. Once the media hypes their connection, Harry faces pressure to maintain the relationship. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go through we're going to go through quite a few images of Meghan showing off that bracelet. Just to provide some background on it, I wanted to go through this Daily Mirror article. We're only going to read a couple of things about it. The article is titled Meghan and Harry's Matching Bracelet When Dating in Secret, also significant not to Diana. I'm not going to go into that Diana part of it, but it says in 2016, Meghan shared a snap wearing almost identical beaded bracelets to ones previously worn by Prince Harry. This sparked suggestions he may have given them to his new girlfriend as a gift. The Suits actress showed off the multicolored bracelets in an Instagram post in October of that year. In the post, she reminisced on her trip to the Soho farmhouse in Oxford. She snapped a selfie while sitting, holding a coffee cup, adding to the caption, hashtag TBT, to my solo trip to SFH members. Treat yourself, UK, Soho farmhouse. And it says, meanwhile, Harry was spotted wearing an almost identical design during a briefing on the charity MAB Action in March 2016. So this is Harry wearing the bracelet. Unfortunately, I couldn't get dates, and I wish if I had more time, I would find out the dates of these Instagram posts that I'm going to show you, and also of Harry wearing them. The article here does mention that she posted it in October of that year. But again, their relationship wasn't outed until towards the end of October. So my assumption would be she was already posting these in early October. She was ready for the news to break, and she was definitely nudging it along. Okay, so here's that original tweet that article was talking about her solo trip to the Soho farmhouse. And there was it's not in this one, but you can see she's wearing the bracelets. And in fact, if you look at Megan, the most vibrant thing seems to be the coffee and the bracelets. And in fact, I wonder if there's any people that know a lot about photography, please let me know. Does the bold cup make the eyes naturally go down to the bracelet? Because when you look at the picture, you the first thing you want to look at is the cup, right? Or the mug. And now she only wears the bracelet from Trevor. Well said, Wyatt Home. Well said. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the next one. Again, I wish we had the date. This one, the caption says friendship bracelets with Millie McIntosh, Queen of Soho, wonder who that is, Bunny Johnsey, Fifi Rosenfeld, and this is the one I thought was hilarious. The comment by Nermeen says she copied your post. Did she though? Did she copy someone? I'm curious to know. And then Megan commented and says, they had to be shared. They've been with me the entire month of travel, and now it's time to share the love. So she's talking to Jenny Bird, and Jenny Bird is actually the designer of that serpent bracelet that it looks like Megan is wearing and three other people are wearing. I can't see it on the fourth wrist. Here's another one. Again, I wish I had the date. The caption says Friday morning, Ikebana vibes. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Now off to the set for Suits. Yeah, here we go. There it is, guys. And the hairy bracelets are the ones that are the closest to the flowers. I really do wonder if these are photography tips to make sure that the eyes naturally go over to the bracelets. I'm going to look into that. ChatGPT is actually really good about this. If you ever want to edit your thumbnails and whatever, and you want to know where the eyes naturally flow based on a picture, ChatGPT can do that. And it's important if you have a logo or a thumbnail or an advertisement, because you want to see where people's attention will gravitate to so that you place important parts of your image in particular spots. Yeah, definitely little Easter eggs for people to guess who she's dating. Are those combinations of bracelets ugly? It's a lot of bracelets. I personally like to be color coordinated. Yeah, I haven't worn that many bracelets since high school. TM says, "Oh my goodness." Okay, let's go to the next one. Her passport is there. The grapes are there. You guys, I'm hungry. I want some grapes. And it says another fun whirlwind in New York, shooting for Bobby Brown and cheering on my number one Serena Williams at the US Open. Now it's time to get back to work. Yeah, I'm trying to read through the comments. Yeah, I wonder when this was too. It should be easy to figure out since it mentions Serena Williams at the US Open. But again, the blue bracelets are the ones on top. And look, she wore them when she met Justin Trudeau. She wore them when she was in that car with Bobby Brown. So this bracelet was everywhere. She wore it all the time, dropping hints. Now, if any of you in the chat or who are watching this on the replay know the dates of these images, please feel free to drop them because I think there's so much information that we can glean from that. And that's where the live stream clip ends. I want to thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to see you in the next live stream. Please let me know your thoughts and comments if you feel comfortable sharing them. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking for a meaningful way to support something beyond the screen, I'd love for you to consider making a donation to the National Domestic Violence Hotline in lieu of super chats and super stickers. They provide 24/7 support and resources for people in unsafe or overwhelming situations, whether that's emotional, physical, or just hard to name. Their information is on the screen should you need to contact them, and you'll find the link to donate in the description of this video. Every little bit helps, and it means a lot. Thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.